Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Amoy Sirius News Network Sunday paper program. Tonight's show, the U.S. has an Iran plan. Pope Ernie the Benedict has his 88th birthday. ISIS disses Nimrod. Oh, an ancient city, them bastards. And in Oklahoma, another cop shooting. This one by Barney Fife. The NFL draft, and much more to come. Tonight's episode of the Amoy Sirius News Network Sunday paper program with John Smarmy as One Brown Eye on the World, Darren Martinez's movie reviews and reviews, and Ron Morrow's Mystic Minute with Sean on the keys. That's right, these stories and more. Tonight's show.
It's the Amoy Sirius News Network with Dan Mahan,
Tony Viejo,
Dave Morrow, and Darren Martinez.
Well, Iran is in the news this week as they have tentatively agreed to allow the world to monitor their nuclear facilities and keep them from making the bomb. However, much more negotiating is yet to be done by June 30th, the deadline to make it official. President Obama has agreed to allow Congress to weigh in on the deal to prevent them from becoming pen pals with the Ayatollah. Remember sending that letter? Saying that, you read it. And Pope Frank celebrated a mass with the prelates from the Armenian Apostolic Church in the Vatican for the 100th anniversary of the slaughter of the Armenian people by the Turks of the Ottoman Empire. Pope Frank called it the first genocide of the 20th century, and it was his duty to honor the memory of the innocent men, women, and children who were, in his words, senselessly murdered by the Turks. Seems he's forgotten about the cross in the name of and the killings in the name of the Catholic Church. You heard of the Inquisition, haven't you, Smarmy? I'm sure you have. But in similar news, the pots and pans in Disney's Beauty and the Beast were quoted as calling the kettle black this week too. So there you go. Everybody's doing it. Speaking of popes, retired Pope Benedict, that was his name, folks, celebrated his 88th birthday and stated he wants to be the only pope again. It must be in the name. ISIS militants released a video showing the destruction of the ancient Assyrian city of Nimrod, built in the 13th century BC. Bastards. However, the video shows some of the statues destroyed to have rebar in them, which is a steel bar. They frame it up and then pour the cement around, which they didn't do back in the 13th century, prompting the Iraqi antiquities official to proclaim that all the items there in Nimrod were authentic. Cracker, please. In national news, a 73-year-old deputy in Tulsa, Oklahoma, has been arrested and charged with manslaughter after accidentally shooting an unarmed suspect involved in an illegal gun sale. The suspect was tackled by the officers as he tried to flee and was being cuffed when Deputy Barney Fife pulled out what he thought was his taser and fired a deadly shot into the man. An officer with a video in his sunglasses caught the incident and the sound of gunfire and the voice of the deputy saying, "Uh-oh, I shot him. Sorry." Yeah, not as sorry as the guy who got shot, you bastard. Speaking of law and order, the FBI and the Justice Department have acknowledged nearly every examiner in an elite FBI forensic unit provided flawed testimony in almost all the trials in which they provided evidence containing hair samples in the 2 decades before the year 2000. Can you believe that, folks? All of them, or just about on 95.some% it was. And asked about their testimony since 2000, well, they said that that will report will be ready in another 20 years. So there you go. We gotta trust them monks. And the post office is putting some space between them and a former employee who flew his ultralight plane onto the Capitol grounds recently. though the plane had the markings of the Postal Service on the tail wing. Yeah, it wasn't part of their thing. The man stated he flew his plane on the Capitol grounds to protest the use of the campaign financing money. You know, with that law that was passed a couple years ago where the rich people buy their votes. And to bring back the letter sent to Iran by Congress. Remember, they want the letter back because there's a few humps who didn't sign and wish they did. In Kansas, another Midwest state, lawmakers passed a bill that bans welfare recipients from spending food stamps on cruise ships, lingerie shops, theme parks, and swimming pools. You know, because at $400 a month, the average welfare recipient, you're probably doing a lot of cruise ship traveling. They can, though, still use the food stamps for gun purchases. You know, if you don't have enough to eat, you gotta kill something. You gotta love them Republicans out there in Kansas. And finally, on the national front, a fisherman from North Carolina claims he was stranded at sea for 66 days after his boat capsized in a storm. 66 days. He claims he survived on raw fish and rainwater until he was rescued. Problem is, he wasn't dehydrated nor sunburnt upon his rescue, which is the usual conditions for someone who's been adrift at sea for over 10 weeks. But that's a fishing story, folks. That the fish won't get bigger with each retelling. I mean, maybe we'll get longer days out there, who knows. But we're going to get more from our national and international scene from our very own John Smarmy with his one brown eye on the world. John?
Thanks, Dan. Hey, Smarmy here, back from vacation. This stuff is from many weeks ago, but it's brand new to you and all your hearts here in America. Let me get the dust off of this. Alright, let's see what we got here. Wendell D. Michael Brooks passes away from Parks and Recreation. And then a week before that, the executive producer of Parks died. Aziz Ansari, if you're watching this, you better watch out. There's a curse going around and you could be next. Madonna goes on the Howard Stern show to unveil a celebrity she once had a casual encounter with. You think it's possible that her slit is still tight? I imagine a slinky. She has done everybody. I'm surprised I haven't met anybody who hasn't had sex with Madonna. Good lord. Court sides with Marvin Gaye's family over the Blurred Lines controversy. And Pharrell and Robin Thicke said that song was a tribute. Well, it was. Get ready to pay up, boys, millions. Hey, hey, hey. You know what I'm saying? That's for the kids out there. Gotta keep it current. You know what I'm saying, Mahan?
Absolutely.
Man shoots friend in an argument over his favorite beer. Guess he won. California man can't find the winning lottery ticket for millions. Well, is he really a winner if he can't claim the prize? You decide. Post it in the comment section. We read them all. Even though so far we've gotten one, and it's from me. But, folks, you gotta start from the ground up. Can't just be a viral star. This past weekend was Pie Day, and I went with the pecan. Not my favorite pie. Go with the classic apple, but pecan pie can be very soothing. And finally, a mom says bananas were infested with spiders that can cause her husband's long hours erection. And I think that's her husband's excuse for using Viagra. Maybe we should hit the treadmill. And I think I need to go back to the writing workshop, folks, because this material is just... Damn it, see what happens if you take 5 weeks off, you get rusty. Mahan, what else is on this show? John Smarmy. I'm only serious news.
Thank you, Smarmy. And outside of Puerto Rico, it's called a pecan pie. Pecan. Pecan. In local news, Bill Cosby will not be at this year's Temple graduating ceremonies. Not because of all the rape charges, but because his drug dealers died. He got old too. You know, a pill for the girls, there's no sense being there. And in Philadelphia, some of you young folks would like to hear this, that a lawmaker wants to push last call to 4 a.m. That's right. You kids are called millennials, see? And he wants to keep your business in the city. The lawmaker is, said, while I understand nightlife isn't the only concern for those making a decision on whether to stay in cities, I do know it is a concern for me. Because he's single, by the way. And that's about it for him. And the killer of his the baby up in King of Prussia and her grandmother, from the couple that I got to know, the Indian guy. Well, apparently he's after the judge and his lawyer as well. Yeah. he didn't think he had a fair trial recently when he was convicted to life and should have had his own neck strangled. The 29-year-old former software worker was sentenced for the murders of a baby and her grandmother back in 2012. Of course, now he wants to do his lawyer, so yeah, go from there. Next up is our movie views and reviews segment with our very own Darren Martinez. Let's see what he should have a few of them to talk about since we haven't been on for a couple of weeks. Darren, what's up?
Thanks, Dan. I'm very glad to be back. Another week, another movie. And this week I saw Unfriended.
Unfriended.
Yeah, Unfriended. It was a film about a girl who dies, cyberbullying, and she stalks her victims. Her ghost stalks her victims through the internet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so it's very different. Yeah, there wasn't really a payoff, so I don't want to say go ahead and see it immediately, but wait for Netflix or something and go check it out. It wasn't a big payoff.
Ah, yeah. Did you see Ghost at all in there? It's all just in there.
Well, that's the problem. They really don't show anything at all. They never show anything. That's what I mean. Like, there's no payoff. There's no monster. There's nothing really to be scared of. There was one time where they showed like one gruesome image, which was kind of freaky. But other than that, never got
Could have went with maybe her doing video clips or something. I mean, spooky.
Yeah,
shit, you know what I mean?
That's what I expected.
YouTube, like everybody else does nowadays, right?
That's what I thought.
Instagram or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous, over the top, maybe like some entity kind of thing.
If the ghost is well enough to handle a computer, it doesn't need fucking still shots of somebody else's pictures. You know what I'm saying?
And so the film was about this entity following you, this thing that was invisible, you could say. And so the first film I want to recommend, and this is kind of weird, I grabbed it because I thought Hollow Man, excellent film. It's a thriller, it's a horror, it's suspense, it's got everything, action, and Kevin Bacon.
Play on the old Invisible Man, right?
Yeah. It's 1 degree of Kevin. So anyway, Avengers.
All the movies that he's in this week.
Avengers coming up soon, and I recommend this film all the time. I'm gonna bring it up again. Iron Man, because Avengers is ultimately just an Iron Man sequel. I know it's got everyone in it, but Iron Man is what started all that, and Iron Man will probably be one of the. Well, they're trying to pass it over to Captain America, so we'll see. They're probably gonna share the time, set it up for the next film. But now that Marvel is making superhero films, and they've made some in the past, there was one I thought that was really good, and I want to recommend you guys go check it out. If you've never seen it, Sky High. I know it's ridiculous as teenagers, but I want to see a Sky College. I think we're due for that film at this point. I think it's going to be great.
That's not Robin Williams there, is it?
No, it's not. That's Kurt Russell.
Okay.
But it was good. It was really good. And I'm going to try to be quick about this. Last thing I want to talk about is something I saw recently, an announcement for possibly Austin Powers sequel, a 4th film. So I'm ready for it. I don't know if you're ready for it, but I think his fans are ready for it if it's done the right way. The 3rd one wasn't as funny as the 1st and 2nd one. A lot of people don't even like the 2nd one, but everyone can agree the 1st one was great for what it was, very funny. It was original at the time. It was kind of like an independent film, sort of, kind of. I mean, they had a huge release and everything, but it wasn't like hugest budget.
Right.
But it was Austin Powers, and we all appreciate Austin Powers, one of the most highly quoted films of all time.
Yeah.
And we got some good characters, Dr.
So we got a couple more out of it, so what the hell?
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I got for you this week. Dan, back over to you.
Well, thank you, Darren. And I haven't even seen the first Iron Man movie, believe it or not.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Rick.
Thanks, Darren. And I believe your touches could have made that movie better that you saw. No doubt. And I haven't even seen the first Iron Man, folks, to tell you the truth. Seen parts of it. Crazy. Well, next up for us, with his own musical introduction this time, is Ron Morrow and his Mystic Minute, with piano by Sean. Ron?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ron Morrow. And once again, this is the Mystic Minute. I've been blessed with a divine vision, you see, ladies and gentlemen. There is a world beneath our own that hides in the cracks. For they say that life is but a dream, but what would that make a nightmare? Nightmares are very real, ladies and gentlemen. Think of the last nightmare that you had. Was it something impossible or absurd, or was it something that felt so chillingly real that you couldn't help but believe it was happening and there was nothing you could do to stop it? But I'm here to tell you there is something you can do. And that is to follow me, your leader, Ron Morrow, into a brave new future in the face of all that is fear. It has been a little more than a mystic minute, and I have been Ron Morrow. Cheers to you, America.
Well, that was some number. One of Morrow's tops. Well, that wraps up for tonight's program, folks. Thanks for watching, and see us next week. For sure. This is Dan Mahan, wrapping up the I'm Only Serious News Network Sunday paper program. Thank you to John Smarmy, Darren Martinez, Ron, and Sean. Have a good night.